And back from the bye week. Hopefully you guys didn't miss us too much. Derek Sharp, Kaylee Cottrell, and BJ Daniels, episode 8 of BullsEYE. We'll get you set for the Bulls and Memphis Tigers. It is a packed show today that you guys are really going to enjoy. And although it's been about 10 days now since the last game, I definitely want to get you guys' thoughts on what took place in East Hartford, Connecticut. 24-21, the Bulls win. I love the fourth quarter. It was a little hit and miss, but what a big win, BJ, going into the bye week. I mean, a big difference between 3-5 and 4-4, I guess.
Absolutely. I mean, it's extremely important to get a win going into bye week. You get a chance to kind of relax a little bit, go into it with a good feel about yourself. Connecticut has not always been very friendly to us, but I was very happy that we were able to pull out the win.
And a guy who went for 186 yards in the game. We continue to be big fans of Naquan, right?
Yes. He was awesome. I talked to him after the game and so humble, gave credit to the O-line and, gave a shout out to Cole Skinner and Cole Bess, and they stepped up and had great games. And, man, that fourth quarter was really fun. And you could feel how much they turned it on the sideline. It was a blast down there. And I talked to Suzanne Ward for my feature this week. She was going crazy up in the stands, as she always is. She's always there, very loyal supporter, so it was a great feature on her coming up.
That's coming up on this show. You might have seen her a time or two on TV. I do the radio side of things on Bulls Unlimited. If you didn't know, we have the broadcast for this week's game with our pregame at 1:30 for the 3 o'clock kickoff. If you don't have Bulls Unlimited, you can listen to the games there. Just download us on the TuneIn app. Now, another thing that happened, and we'll give you more of a look into this week's show, which is phenomenal, but this past week was Halloween.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a big Halloween guy. I don't have time to dress myself up. I do dress my dogs up, though, by the way.
That's right.
They were dressed up as farmers. Farmer Franklin and Sidekick Sherman. They were at Moffitt Cancer Center on Halloween Day and brought a lot of smiles to everybody's faces. Did you get to enjoy anything yourself?
I would have matched your dogs because with the bye week, went out with some friends, had some time, so we had a good time. But I just found, like 5 minutes before I left, I found a little denim skirt, kind of like a red checkered
I don't believe the 5 minutes
top.
thing, by the way. I bet you this was
I almost
at least
wasn't
10
gonna
minutes.
go, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll just throw something together in my closet. And I found a red bandana, tied it around my neck, and said I was a farmer. So I would have matched your dogs.
BJ, are you a big Halloween guy?
I'm not.
Oh, that's right. You don't like sweets? The whole thing just turns you off.
Right.
I'm probably one of the most scariest people you'll meet in your life. I'm scared of dogs. I don't like ghosts. I don't watch scary movies.
I don't really either. I'm kind of the same way on that side.
I'm pretty boring.
Let's get into the scary movie thing. When's the last one you actually tried to watch? And
people don't call this scary, but the movie Purge. That probably was the last kind of scary thing I've ever watched.
No, thanks to
after that, I was done. So
I kind of feel you.
Yeah, I'm not. I actually believe in the whole things could happen in the dark. So
now you've got me scared. Now I understand the whole situation. I don't like watching movies that I have to close my eyes during because I'm that scared, and it doesn't take much. So at least we had our eyes open during the game last week. That's
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
During the course of this show, we're going to talk to Naquan Wright. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Jose Fernandez is going to join us as women's basketball is starting on Monday. Actually, Thursday night, the men's basketball team, first one for Amir Abdur-Rahim at the Yingling Center, going up against Edward Waters in an exhibition game. By the way, that is free admission. Also joining us today, and I want your take on your friend, former Bull, Kayvon Webster.
Yeah.
Former Denver Bronco.
Yeah.
Did you have any run-ins with him in the postseason?
Absolutely. Had the opportunity and the blessing to be in the Super Bowl, number one, but then to face one of my teammates, someone I came into college with, and we both graduated and both got drafted the same year. So to play against Kayvon in the Super Bowl was an amazing thing. I think he still owes me a phone call.
What do you mean?
Prior to the game, we made an agreement that no matter who won, we would hang out with each other after the game. So Seahawks won, and I'm still waiting on Kayvon to call me back. So
I'm going to stick up for him. I wouldn't call you either. You beat us. We were friends.
Yeah.
He's got some
awesome.
interesting things to say about his experiences in the NFL. So it's going to be, like we say, a jam-packed show here on BullsEYE, a full hour. Of course, the head coach will be joining us next. But right now, just to refresh your memory, cinematic recap of UConn.
Challenge to us is to pull the pin right off the dribble, man. Save nothing for anything. Every snap. Every snap. From the first one, the second one, the third one, you got to go, man. can't save anything at any point in the game. And then when you get tired, next guy go in, hold the same standard. We've played elite in defense here. We played elite in offense. We played elite special team. Put it together, man. Put it together, one play at a time. First snap, second snap, third snap. Play as hard as you can, as long as you can, man. Everybody with me on that?
Yes, sir.
Said you had each other's backs, right?
Yes, sir.
Whatever happens, stay true to your word. Let's have a ball, man.
It's the first handoff for the game. Kayvon Wright, plenty of room. Down at 6, it is Victor Rosa with the ball popping out. And USF thinks they have it, they do. Second and goal from the 1. Right again. Touchdown USF. Slicing through in the backfield. That's Williams. Accelerates on his feet. First down and more. Still tiptoeing. The legs moving. And he has the first down. Option pitch. Right. Hands extended away from the body on the catch. And there's no one around him. So John Cannon gives USF a 10-7 lead. At the football, hit hard. Second down and 10. Roberson down the seam, has Ross, but is picked. Jalen Stokes ready just in time. Roll out for Roberson, got love. There's Jalen Schuler. Flings. There's Brown Stevens. Breaks the tackle. Brown Stevens. Brown keeps it. Has the hole. And gets in. It makes it a 4-point game in the fourth quarter. Down and 8. Brown dances around. Throws it across. And it's complete. For the first on 2nd and 7. There is the first down and more by Wright. Wright wants the outside. Powerful legs. Option, near side, pitch, right, and the touchdown. 24-21, USF will run. Jukes, plows forward, first down. Ball pops out, no whistle. It's a fumble, and it's USF. 4 seconds left. And that's how this game ends.
Derek Sharp back with BJ Daniels in the courts. Alex Golesh now. It's been about 10 days, but we have to go back before we look forward. What a great comeback against UConn, sticking it out, getting the running game going, getting everything going in the fourth quarter, and not a bad way to go into the bye week, I take it.
Yeah, it was really cool to see the guys go finish that game. You know, I thought defensively we played as complete of a game. Turnovers, getting off the field when we had to, lessen the explosives. And at the end of the day, had the 2 drives we needed to be able to go score. On the flip side, I thought offensively we absolutely killed ourselves over and over again, stalled out, at the 35, 40-yard line, that area where, like, man, you really want to punt it, can't kick the field goal, you go for it, and didn't execute. And then, as the latter part of the third quarter into the fourth quarter, it was like everything we hadn't done well, we were able to go convert some big-time third downs. I thought we had the running game going the entire game. I thought it was really critical there at the end as a compliment to us kind of playing in almost a 2-minute mode there in the fourth. It was really cool to see the resiliency. Both sides of the ball just be able to go finish the game, which, the previous 2 weeks we couldn't get into that situation where we gave ourselves to go finish a game. But it was good. It was created some confidence for the guys. I thought our process that week was really good. That's why through three quarters, I'm sitting here like, man, oh man, I felt like we practiced well. We were on it. Felt like we weren't executing at some critical times when we had to until the fourth quarter. And at the end of the day, you take it how you can get it. You're never going to complain about a road win. And then it's set up perfectly for us to get into a week where we can really work on ourselves, get a little bit ahead on Memphis, and also get healthy.
Yeah, Coach, you had 9 explosives on offense. 3 of them were behind Naquan Wright and his shoulder pads, and he's rushed for yet another 100 yards again. He seems to be the workhorse, and he's kind of separate himself in the running back room. Can you talk about what he's continuing to do and what he's showing you week in and week out to kind of carry that load?
Yeah, I think he's a guy that came in and I think was feeling his way out, honestly, through the first 4 or 5 weeks and had several conversations about, man, like you've got to practice with an intent that it feels like a game. So when you get into a game, you truly are mentally and physically prepared. And I thought really the last month he's turned a corner in terms of how he prepares, how he practices, and you've seen it on the field. And so the hardest time I give him is like, dude, you're in the open field, like you gotta go finish your creating. A lot of red zone plays for me, right? Yeah, you can't be from Dade County and then giving somebody else the plays from the 8. No, but he's been really fun to be around. He's worked extremely hard. He's practiced extremely hard. He's, I think, confident now that he's earned the right to go lead because he's got a lot of really cool leadership traits in him. Earned the right to be a captain last week and really took a lot of that workload. You'd really like to distribute the workload in that room, but as you continue to get into critical situations, you feel like, man, like he's going to go get it for you. And he started off the first play with an explosive, finished off the fourth quarter with an explosive, and continues to do some really, really good things. But he's a great example of earning the right to go into a game and feel really confident.
Absolutely.
And he's going to be joining us. I'll make sure not to ask him about not being able to finish off those runs. That'll leave you with that. Yeah. But we love the starts of the runs. There was, and this is general about play calling. I know a play that you want to ask him about, but I love being able to line up in victory formation. But at the end of the game, it wasn't quite there yet. And specifically about the play where you're trying to wind down as much clock without punting it, without a field goal. Is that something you actually practice, or in that specific situation, you just call people over and say, okay, here's what we're going to do?
No, you 100% practice it. It was a unique situation because you were for sure in a situation where you didn't want to create a play where a ball can get blocked and make it an easy touchdown. Okay. So, and it's not that I don't have confidence in our punt team, I don't have confidence in our field goal unit. You didn't want to put the ball in anybody's hand. Really, that whole last sequence, I said I want the ball in one guy's hand. And really 2 guys, Naquan or Byram, and that is it. And you get a feel throughout a game, especially that fourth quarter, you're like, man, I don't want it left to anybody else except those 2 guys. And so you've got really a couple plays where you can take off anywhere from 6 to 10 seconds. We were sitting at 14. And so you knew either which way you were going to leave time on the clock unless you converted the first down. And so the other part of it is you didn't want to lose any yards to where you were going to give them a last play, a true Hail Mary opportunity. And so that particular play we talked about on the sideline off of a timeout. I let it wind down, took the timeout, and so we could talk about why we're calling that specific play. And literally the last thing I told Byram was, like, you're either going down with the ball or it's a 100% going to be completion. Either one, I'm good. Nothing else. There's not going to be a tip ball. There's not going to be anything. Like, it's either wide open completion, you're launching that thing out of bounds, or you're going down with the football. He took the third option, tried to burn as much as he could. You saw him cover up the football and go down. Created 2 plays for them. They had no timeouts. You felt like the only shot they had was a relatively long setup play for a Hail Mary. They weren't able to complete the setup play to get themselves into a Hail Mary situation. But no, super funky situation because of the 14 seconds. I think if it was more in the 8 to 10 second range, we had 2 different ways we could have ended the game. And so, listen, like, that was one that even during the play, I'm like, man, we should really talk about this one more time. After the game, it was like, man, like, do you feel like we were right in the decision we made? And I go back and think that, and I'm super critical of myself, like beyond critical of myself. I do think it was the right decision to run that play and what I told Byram. Now, there was a wide open receiver running on a crossing route, but we'll take it how we can get it.
And what was the play that you enjoyed so much?
one of the coolest plays, I thought, running the old school option, the 2-point conversion. you send the formation to the field, you jump the back, last minute, and you run option out the back door. I mean, just the confidence what kind of confidence, obviously, do you have? Obviously, in Byram pitching the ball to Naquan, and, I mean, it was a beautiful setup from the get.
Yeah, it's come at some critical times for us this year. It all comes back. It's all cyclical. What we do offensively in a lot of ways is triple option football. That's more true old school. But again, who are the two guys who have the ball in their hands? It's Byram and it's Naquan. But Western Kentucky, Mikey scored on that same exact play, and you want the ball in his hands. We've used it in a lot of situations. We've used it in that situation. We've used it in some third and long situations against Alabama where it's the same. It's either wide open or Byram's going to tuck that thing and run, and he's been really good running downhill. But yeah, it's a little bit of a throwback.
Yeah, for sure.
The play before the rain delay, I think, in Alabama. It's been a while. You were talking about what you guys got to do during the bye week, and you said take a look at what we do, take stock. Could you share a couple highlights with what you're able to take stock with? Yeah,
I think that bye week was really good for us to really, one, take a day and catch our breath a little bit. While we caught our breath, you were able to go back and look at us and reflect a little bit on, man, like, what are we doing? And really on all three sides of the ball, what are we doing well? Because I think when you get into a flow of a week, especially with morning practices, you're kind of in a groove where it's harder than you want it to be to look back. We obviously self-scout ourselves every week, but look at it really through a big picture lens and say, what are we doing well? Who is actually making plays for us? And schematically, what are we doing well? Let's fine-tune that. What are we not doing well? Like, is it critical for us as we move forward, or can we just scrap and say, man, we'll worry about it in the off season? So looked at ourselves really critically and then took essentially a day and a half and worked through that. Then took time to get ahead on Memphis. I think for our guys to be able to have an initial game plan before they left for their 2.5 days where they got to go home and spend some time with their families, but tried to use it to get ahead. And the last part of it was critical for us to get out and recruit. And we've dabbled on some Fridays getting out and recruited. I've gone out, but it was good to be able to get out without having a game on Saturday and see a bunch of the guys that are committed to us, see a bunch of guys that we're trying to make evaluations on, because you blink and you're 6 weeks from signing day. And so really 7 weeks from signing day. And so we've had to make some decisions. Young guys are making decisions as well, so it was really good. It was awesome to be at. We were at games Thursday night, we were at games Friday night. A bunch of our staff was at games on Saturday. We made a bunch of decisions, so it was good to get back Sunday and kind of put those together and really know which way we're going there. At the end of the day, you got to recruit, and we've worked extremely hard to put a really special class together. We got to go finish this thing and get some difference makers in here.
That's tremendous. And a couple of days off for the players, but obviously not for the staff so much. But you still get to enjoy this time of the year. Talking about the Halloween situation, it looked like your kids were trying to dress up as assistant coaches, or was one of them you?
Yeah, my daughter was me. She went with the all-black look with the sunglasses and chewing gum. She thought she was super proud of the gum. But no, it was awesome. We had all the entire staff, little kids, were here dressed up last night. The players didn't know. Actually, I don't think our coaches knew, and they went during evening position meetings, went trick-or-treated in all the position rooms. Our players got a kick out of it. It was awesome for our kids, and we had pizza and hung out for about a half hour and then kicked them out and went right back to Memphis.
That's cool.
So.
Okay, do you, if you do, when was the last time you did pick out a Halloween uniform, or is that Alexis? Are you a big costume guy? I'm guessing no.
Man, it always falls in a game week.
Yeah, exactly right.
So I haven't had time to worry about Halloween costumes. Honestly, I think maybe like my junior year in college. Man, I don't want to piss anybody off there. But that was probably the last time I dressed up.
You get a pass.
Yeah, I'd be good. You know what? Let's pause there.
I would like to try and dress up like BJ Daniels, but I don't have that much money, man.
Oh,
look at
man.
this. Look what you got going on.
I got a suit you can
Derek,
wear.
you need a lot more money. Dude, you played in the league, works out more than we do.
Look at, you got what is this, a chief? A chief?
I don't know. I have to start to match my tie and my blue. You know, it's the details.
BJ got a guy. We all got
a guy.
Hey, heard the Memphis coach talking about you in favorable terms, that you as assistants ran into each other. I know it's a talented offensive team. I'm sure you watched their wild one against North Texas, and we wrap it up here. A challenge for the Bulls this week on the road.
Yeah, very much a veteran team. I think they went through a lot of what we're going through a year ago.
Right.
Had coordinator changes, and I give Ryan a lot of credit. Changed some things on his staff that he felt like were holding them back. That takes a lot to do, and you could see the maturity. Another year in a system, obviously a quarterback that's really special and is playing at a really high rate. A running game, and Memphis has always had an incredible running game. I go back to coached against them in the Liberty Bowl in 2017. Ran the ball extremely well. Had a really good quarterback. It's like I getting deja vu. And Ryan was on that staff, and then defensively, I think schematically what they do is really, really sound. They play really, really hard. I think that's the one thing you flip the film on, and I just said it in the press conference. You always know somebody's buy-in by when you flip the film on, like, are they playing really hard? Are they assignment sound? I think both of those things. They play really hard, they're assignment sound, and they've got playmakers. They got playmakers on the perimeter. Offensively, they've got an elite back, and they got a quarterback. Like that's a really good recipe for success. And then defensively, they play extremely hard. They fly to the ball. You could tell they believe in what they're being coached. They pressure like crazy, and so it'll be a really big challenge for us to go on the road, conference game against a team that's established in this league and has kind of been there, done that. So it'll be a really cool test for us. Where are we? Are we there? I think at times we've played like we are, at times we haven't. Are we there? If we are, awesome. Let's go compete like crazy and come out of there with a bunch of success. If we're not there, it gives you at least a benchmark to say, man, like, we got to get there, and we'll go right back to work. So either way, the most important thing is our process this week, get to Memphis and play as hard as we can, as long as we can, and execute at a high clip.
Thank you so much. Best of luck this week.
Thank you.
We'll talk about it next week with the coach right here on BullsEYE, which continues, yes, with Naquan Wright.
Time to take a look at our Dr. Pepper Fansville cam. And a special focus here on Superfan for USF, Suzanne Ward, who's been at all but one of the USF games in program history in 27 years. That's over 300 games.
For Suzanne Ward, what better way to spend her birthday than supporting the Bulls? I'm Kaylee Trell, your Bulls Insider. Take me to the beginning. Where did your love for USF start?
I think it was day one. I mean, I grew up loving football, and then when we got our team, I was so excited, and so wasn't going to give it up.
Well, you have been to every home, every away USF football game except one, which was during COVID. At what point did you tell yourself, I can't stop now, I have to keep going?
There was one plane that they had canceled, and they were saying, don't worry, you got points, we'll get you back home. I go, no, you don't understand. I have to make it, you know what I mean? So after that, it was just like, I have to be a little goal-oriented.
What is it about USF football that keeps you coming back?
I just love football, and it's, meet a lot of people, all the Twitter herd and everybody out at the tailgates. It's just, it's just a nice place to walk up and everybody hugs you. It's my university. I mean, I've got degrees from other universities, but I spent more of my life at USF, and all of my blood and sweat and tears went to USF, and so I guess it's baked in.
What's your favorite USF football memory?
I still say that West Virginia game, because the people around me actually stormed the field. When I got back home to Oregon, everybody's going like, oh my God, that's your team? And I went, yes!
Now, you were featured on the broadcast at Navy. What was that like for you?
Oh, well, everything is fun. You know what I mean? I just want to participate. I want to get USF to get some kudos. I want to just be a part of everything.
It's also your birthday, so happy birthday to you. How cool is it to be able to spend your birthday with the Bulls?
Actually, I spend a lot of my birthdays with the Bulls. And usually they're away games, funny. But this one is my 60th, so this is the big one.
How long do you plan on supporting the Bulls?
How long can I keep doing it? They said, you keep doing it till you die. I said, they maybe start carrying me down to my seats after a while. You put the time, you put the money in, you support them. If you want something, you got to put in for it. Stop him right there, yeah!
Very happy to be joined by Naquan Wright, running back for your South Florida Bulls. Derek Sharp with Kaylee Cottrell here on BullsEYE. First of all, let me just point this out, and I'm going to say this as praise towards you. You've done so much for this team, but you do not seek out interviews. He's a guy that has wanted to sort of lay low. You understand the attention, though, right, sir?
Yeah.
You've earned it. You've earned it. And you've earned it with your style of play. I know Kaylee had a great anecdote on that.
Yeah. Earlier this week, my dad actually asked me, so who's the interview for this week's show? And I said, Naquan. And he took a minute, and then he kind of clicked, and he was like, oh, number 5. And he goes, you catch his eye every game, and it's just your style of play is so powerful. It's very memorable when you're watching the game. There's so much force. You have such a low center of gravity. Have you always played like that?
Yeah, I would say yes, I have.
Now look at what's going on behind us. You're about to try and get on the jugs gun.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to do that. Tell people why you're doing that.
I mean, you don't have to do it, but it's just, I feel like help with our coordination, concentration, and just catching the ball. You know what I mean? As a running back, you don't really get that much target as a receiver, so when you do get a target in a game or two, you want to capitalize on it to help the team.
I noticed that you have a little variety to your game as well. Let's talk about your last game. You showed everything that was on display. 186 yards, and I know you're not sitting there, looking at your numbers during the course of the game. Did you have a feeling that you could go off a little bit against UConn?
Actually, I didn't know the yardage during the game. When I got back, after the game, they told me, at halftime, you was close to 100. I just really wanted to help the team out, man, get us the win. That's really, be my main thing, just help my teammates out, do the best I can.
After the game, I know we talked, and something that you really notice about this team is humility. And when I asked you about the game that you had and what was working so well, the first thing that you did was give credit to the O-line and give your guys the shout-outs there. Why is that so important to you to kind of give that credit, and how proud are you of the way these position groups have developed and evolved over the season?
I would just say, man, it's a team sport, you know what I mean? I'm the one carrying the ball, so they'll give me all the credit like I did it by myself. In reality, I did not. You know what I mean? It's really like I say, the O-line, the guys on the perimeter, they make everything possible. I wish they could go interview all of us, you know what I mean? Because those guys work hard, just as hard as me. And actually, I think I had the easy part, just run the ball. They the one create the lanes, doing a lot of physical contact, you know what I mean? So they deserve an interview as well.
Talk about giving credit. I'm such a Coach Merritt fan. What's it like working with him?
Coach Merritt is a cool dude, man, solid dude. Just coming in, the first conversation, I found a lot of similarities in myself and the type of principles and values that I grew up on. He has the same in him, man. I love that guy. He help you, not just on the field, off the field as well, man. He's family.
Part of the great coaching staff here, and I know that, I'm guessing anyway, that the coaching staff had a little bit to do with you coming here. I'm sure the promise of a high and mighty offense and fast offense, which we've seen. Talk about your decision to come here.
Coming here, it was actually, like I tell everyone, USF wasn't in the conversation at all. They came pretty late, you know what I mean? So I came up here. They called me on a Thursday. I came Friday, and they made everything work. So I found that pretty cool and interesting, that with not so much time that you make me a priority to get up here, man. Then the offense coming in, coach saying that the offense was fast, but him saying it and actually being in it is very different. Like him talking, I was like, man, I've been a part of fast offense, but when you get in this thing, man, this thing go pretty fast, faster than you think it is, and watching it on TV.
And when you get into a rhythm on offense, I'm sure it's fun to watch. How does it feel being on the field when it's going on? Do you sense the defense is like, whoa, we're in trouble here?
I would say it's pretty smooth, man. Like, when you get in that rhythm, when anyone get in the rhythm, it's pretty hard to stop them. You know what I'm saying? Once you get in that groove, and then you just feed off each other, man. So I felt like we give the defense and the special team energy in there, and vice versa.
Well, speaking of feeding off things and giving energy, I know you know what I'm going to ask you about, the run against Alabama. And I know you probably didn't go into that game planning on making a statement, but it did make a statement. And have people stopped talking to you about it? How did that feel for you when it happened?
Now, I actually hear it often, but the crazy part about it is I just don't know how that one blew up. And if people watch the game, they would see I actually did it against FAMU, the same game, the same hit, everything. So I guess because it's Bama that they blew it up. I tell my coaches the same thing, like, Coach, why are they blowing that one up? I just did it a week before and no one said anything. But, you know what I mean? I just had, a message I wanted to send at the beginning of the game. Beginning of the game, I'm looking for contact. I'm not trying to, avoid it. I'm trying to look to set the tone. You know what I mean? Start early, man. Strike some fear in those guys.
Definitely, I think it worked in that situation. You know, I want to go back to your early days. Joey Johnston on GoUSFBulls.com has a story about you growing up in Miami, and I'm guessing it has a lot to do with how much you appreciate. You just talked about giving credit. Appreciate life in general. If you don't mind, tell people what happened to you. It was a kind of a traumatic experience.
Yeah, I mean, like I tell everyone, it was a regular day at practice. I was 11 years old playing at Bunch Park, and just shots fired. You know what I mean? My coach was yelling, "Get on the ground," telling all us to get on the ground as I was crawling towards where they were telling the direction away from the shots. A bullet had ricocheted off the ground and had hit a nerve in my right shoulder. So, I mean, I was just going through the rehab process, ton of support from the community. I played for Bunch Park, so ton of support from just the whole Miami. You know what I mean? They helped me get through the process. As soon as it happened, I was just on my way to the hospital. I had asked the nurse on the bus, not the bus, the ambulance, just will I be able to play this week? You know what I mean? Like, I have a passion and a love for the game of football, and I respect the game, so I just don't want to take any moment for granted. You know what I mean?
So you were 11, and instead of being scared, you were thinking, "Can I play?" Is that right?
Yes, sir. I asked, and my family just shocked, man. But I think it was really impact my family more because my mom got the call I was dead at the time. That's what she had told me after the fact. So just being the last of four. You know what I mean? And I'm her baby boy. So I definitely don't want to hurt her. I try to not do things to hurt her or put her in a bad position. So I feel like I owe her. You know what I mean? She give us a ton of support, ton of gratitude towards her and her love.
That's tremendous. And one other thing that I noticed in the article, I do follow you on social media, and I didn't even think twice about it because you see emojis and you just go to the next thing. You put a turtle emoji out, and
yes,
to me, sir, you're not slow. So explain the turtle thing.
I just see myself as a turtle, slow and steady, not in a rush. You know what I mean? Like through my whole life, I've been through adversity. You know what I mean? And that's why I get the turtle sense for like the turtle going to get to the finish line, but it may take a while. It's gonna go through a few things, a couple bumps, speed bumps. You know what I mean? Just growing up, broke both ankles. You know what I mean? Had surgeries. Been shot, so just different adversity, man. And just felt like, man, no matter what, just keep faith and I'll overcome it.
Oh, wow.
You've really developed a role here of being a leader. How much does taking on a role like that mean to you?
I don't take it for granted, man. I actually don't take it for granted. Those guys look at me as someone they could count on. Just coming in, I just wanted to be someone that my teammates could depend on in any moment, whether it's on the field or off the field. And I feel like, man, I just want to be that vessel for the Lord, man. Let him use me.
The other day, we did a video together, giving a little shout out to some kiddos on some Pop Warner teams. And you really took the time to talk to these kids and say, like, go on and make a Super Bowl one day, and just went that extra mile to talk to them. And has that always been your nature to motivate and inspire?
No, I wouldn't say it. I would say just me being on the park, back in Bunch Park, I always wanted, like, those guys in college or the NFL just to come back and just tell her what it takes to get there and what they're going through, you know what I mean? So growing up, we really didn't have that down there where athletes come back and give their time. So any break I get, I'm down there at the parks, man, just supporting, watching the game, and it really brings them joy. It actually brings me joy just to see the type of questions that they asking on how it's going. And, you know what I mean, a lot of questions I get are just about, like, how you keep going. And I really just tell them, man, faith. Like, I think faith is key in this thing, man.
Outstanding. Hey, love you telling some of your background stories, much less what you're doing on the field. Keep doing what you're doing. Go get in that extra work. Thanks a lot, Kayvon.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Outstanding work there. More BullsEYE next.
Man, it's going great, Kayvon. Obviously, we came to USF together. We turned down Miami together. That's a story for another day. We graduated together. I'm just so proud of you, and I just want to let you know that. I always tell you that. But please tell us about your experience in the NFL. No, let's take a step back. Tell us about your experience coming to USF and summarize it, right, going into the NFL draft in 2013. What were those 4 years like for you?
First off, I would like to say I'm proud of you as well. You know,
Thanks, man.
we have done a lot of things together, and we're continuing to add to the things we've done. As far as my time at USF, I would say it was like living in the best of both worlds. You know, you had the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. So it was kind of like a thing where um, it was a balance. You know, it was a balance all around, like off the field and on the field. Um, and leading up to the draft, it was kind of interesting thing because um, playing at USF and the record that we had, you wouldn't have uh, thought that these things would have been possible as far as being recruited and getting drafted and just making it to the next level. It's just very tough coming from a smaller school that people don't really put respect on. And I think around the time when we was coming out, we was still like building those blocks to gain to the respect in Florida as being one of those uh, big three or adding to the big three of South Florida schools. It was great for me. I can't really complain. I wouldn't take anything away from what happened at USF, and I wouldn't take anything that's happened, since I graduated.
That's awesome. Now, it was a lot of DBs taken that year. You were one of those guys who the right people knew about. Obviously, you had the right combination of size. You're a very fast guy. I don't know if UF fans know this, but you ran track all 4 years you were at USF. You, Lindsey Lamar, Derek Hopkins. What do you think was the most contributory factor that led to you being drafted in the third round by a really good Denver Broncos team?
I would say for me is the focus. Um, it was tough. The last 2 years of USF was tough for us. We had lost 6 games by 3 our junior year, so we wound up 5-7, and then we missed a bowl game because of one of those games being decided by 3. So that was our first like adversity being at USF, and then the following year we went 3-9, so that was kind of even more depressing. You know, you put in all of this work and you want to see the results, but maybe the results don't happen right then, and so that just took me into a mindset of focus. Like, okay, I see the way our season is going. I still have to give this my all because I want to go to the next level. And what do I have to do to go to the next level? I have to do more than what I've been doing um, at the collegiate level. I have to train my body and mind a little bit more. And, those were a little bit of things I was focused on when I was coming out of South Florida, was making sure that my mind was strong and that my game was strong as well. So practicing every day on my techniques and my body um, were some of the things I was focusing on to get me to that next level.
Sure, sure. Okay, now you leave USF, you get drafted in the third round, and you join a team with guys will be in the Hall of Fame one year. Obviously, Peyton Manning, DeMarcus Ware, just a ton of other guys. And you get an opportunity to play early, not on defense, but on special teams. And then after a tumultuous career, your last 2 years at USF, you find yourself in the Super Bowl. Now, that's the top of the top for guys. How was that experience for you?
It's something you really can't really explain. You would have to actually be on a Super Bowl team to understand the feeling.
Yeah.
I've experienced, not winning. I've experienced not winning, for 2 years of my last 2 years of college. So getting drafted to the Broncos, with that being my favorite team and then being able to play with my favorite player and to be able to win at the highest level and then, be a part of a team with future Hall of Famers and things like that. That was really it's like a dream that you can't really even explain. It's not even like the dream came true because I didn't really never dream of this. I had I had another kind of dream, and it just really evolved, with meeting my favorite player, actually having a relationship with him, getting invited to his wedding, setting up his
And
bachelor
that's Champ
party.
Bailey, correct?
Yeah, and that's Champ Bailey. For everyone that doesn't know, I used to go to practice at USF, and I used to be like, Champ Bailey is here today. Ain't nobody catching the ball, and that was a thing, the receivers they couldn't stand it. It was like they was trying to challenge me every practice when I say that, and then after the rep, it's like I said what I said. So
Yeah.
so it was like a surreal moment, being able to be on a team with one of my favorite players, and then one of my favorite team, and then being able to add some guys in like DRC, Rogers Camardi, and Tony Carter, Michael Huff, Quentin Jammer. Who else do we have? Uh, we had Chris Harris at the time, and then having Raheem Moore, Mike Adams, a lot of OG veterans, a part of that Super Bowl team when I was a rookie. So it was definitely a surreal feeling. You would have to have been a part of the actual team to understand the feeling that you get from winning a Super Bowl and actually going to a Super Bowl. It's just like, it's unbelievable.
Man, that's special, man. I just, as you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking about my time in Green Bay, and we were a play away from making it. And, it is a really special time. I'm definitely happy that you had the opportunity to experience that. And then, so talk about your time. All right, obviously, you leave Denver, you get an opportunity to sign a second contract with the Rams, which was pretty special. And you sign that contract, and not only are you in a new city, you have a new business endeavor in 5305. How was that initially birthed? Because we'll talk about how it's become Smith and Webster, but obviously, how was that birth, and what motivates you to become a business owner while you were still, in a blossoming NFL career?
I was like, well, instead of you cooking personally for people, let's just cook for everyone. Um, I was watching a movie one day, and I got motivated, and I started doing my research, and I went and found I went and found a food truck, and then when I found the food truck, one of my teammates, his name is Dominique Easley, he wanted to partner with me without even knowing anything. And I was just like, well, I would love to have a partner in this, but I feel like this is something that I need to navigate solo first before I start taking anyone's money and misplacing it
Great
the wrong
decision.
way. And so that's what I did. And then I told the team about it, some of the reporters, and then I think they made an article about it, like, "Oh, Kayvon is recovering from Achilles. He's back walking, and we can't wait to see what he's going to do on his second year of his contract." Because my first year, I played pretty well. I didn't really give up any touchdowns. I guarded some of the best receivers that year. Um, and then the team made an article. They put it out for press release. It was on ESPN. It was like Kayvon Webster is bringing a Miami cuisine to Los Angeles, and then the following day, I got released from the team. And so when I got released from the team, it was just like more confirmation. Like, okay, the team made an article. They put this out there. I need to capitalize off of this media, you know. And I'm big on, if I say something that I'm going to do, I'm going to do it. No matter how long it take me to do it, I'm going to still put my mind to seeing how I can conquer this or how I can get this going for the benefit of not only myself but for others, because when I do things, others always benefit from it. And
Sure.
so
Yeah.
that was the start of the food truck. I was a free agent from April until August. And so during that time I was spending time rehabbing to get back. to be where I needed to be, because people was saying that I wasn't going to be where I needed to be, but my recovery was smooth. I was back running quick, you know. I guess the business move was for Sean McVay to try to hurry up and get a Super Bowl. You know, they went and got Talib and Peters. They did go to the Super Bowl, but they lost, you know. And then they wound up winning the following year, I believe, when they loaded up on more players. So um LA just forced me to just go to my entrepreneur bag. And like, you can't go wrong, you can't fail. And so that was my motto, going into the food truck business, in which it turned into a full brick and mortar like 2 years after that, you know, to get Smith and Webster. And now Smith and Webster is expanding to Core Springs to be the third restaurant. But rewind before that, Smith and Webster was started after the food truck, and then Smith and Webster was born, and then we opened Brandon's Bistro, and then we opened in Coral Springs location now. That should be online in like the next few weeks.
Man, I thought I knew you, but you turned me on to some details that I had no idea about. And again, man, I think it's just a special opportunity when, you know, fans can watch a guy grow up. You came to USF in 2009, and now here it is 14 years later. You know, you were going into week 9 of the season. Well, week 9 of the season, right? 14 years ago when you were a freshman at USF. And so I'm proud of you. I know so many fans are proud of you, and we appreciate you for who you are to Bulls Nations. Thank you for making time for us, and continue to give us stuff to be proud of you about. And hey, all Bulls fans, go down when you're in Miami, when you're in Coral Springs, when you're in Miami Gardens. Go check out Kayvon's spot. The food is delicious. I can vouch. Until next time, Bulls fans, talk to you soon.
Go Bulls.
Very special guest now on BullsEYE, head women's basketball coach Jose Fernandez, entering year number 24. Coach, the season starts for you guys on Monday. I know you are ready to roll, aren't you?
We are, especially now today. We'll practice 26, 11 team workouts, 4 inter-squad scrimmages, 2 scrimmages. We've been ready to play for about a week and a half, so looking forward to getting started Monday.
We don't want to mention any secrets to the scrimmages. We don't want to say who you played, but you learn stuff about your team in scrimmages, right?
I think you learn a lot, especially when you scrimmage 2 teams that are really, really good, and they're going to be playing in March in the NCAA tournament. So we learned a lot about ourselves, offensively and defensively. So they were good. I like our depth. I like our locker room. We're going to be a little different on both ends of the floor. So, we will see.
When you schedule like you do, I think it helps to play some power teams during the preseason. Does it get them to attention?
Yeah. You schedule that way so you prepare your team in November, December for conference play, right? And not only that, in case something happens, like we have one bad night where I thought we were the best team on 16 occasions last year, going 15-1 and winning a regular season title. You have a bad night in the conference tournament. Now you've already played such a great schedule in November, December. If you don't win the conference tournament, you're there positioning yourself for an at-large bid.
Talking about the fallback last year against Wichita in the first round of the AAC tournament, it didn't matter because of their schedule. So this year, NC State coming here, Alabama, of course. You get Texas in a multi-team event. I want to ask about you guys' schedule. Do you just go to the event, know you're in the event, and then let it shake out, or do you seek out certain teams, certain situations?
No, we always want to go to a multi-team event to get 3 games in 3 days. Number one, because that mimics a conference tournament. But we play in tournaments that we know we're going to get at least 2 really good games. Where we're going to go, we got Arizona State and Texas in the Virgin Islands. You got Baylor at West Palm, right? So that's 3 good ones. You got return, the home and NC State, and then Alabama. So we got five really, really good games to get us ready for January, February.
And as the play-by-play announcer on the radio, I want to say thank you for scheduling exotic locations. He just slipped in the Virgin Islands and West Palm I'll take as well. And I'm sure down the road it's always going to be equally scenic. You mentioned this year's team is going to look a little different. Of course, you don't have the big center with Dulcie Fanka-Mangiotti. You don't have Elena Chinecki. Is it going to, in your opinion, be more balanced scoring this year? Because it seems like they would go 2 types.
Well, you lose 2 starters in Dulcie and Elle that went in the WNBA draft. That's tough to replace. But you return Carl and Danny, you're solid there at the 4. Carlo plays some 3. Ariel at the point guard spot. You got Sammy, one of the best shooting guards in the entire country. Marina Asensio, Yanette Arnio. You got those guys. Emma, they got minutes last year. And then you add, some transfers that I think are going to play for us. And Ave and Romy Levy. Lore, junior college transfer, and you got Vittoria and Valero that can give us minutes on the wings. So we'll probably play a lot more people. Where are all the points going to come from? I think we're going to be more balanced and more collective.
That was the basic idea of that question. You mentioned Valero. You have a couple of Judiths, freshmen from Spain. When you have so many new players, you're trying to run and get them to learn all the plays. Do you ease in with the freshmen a little bit? Do you have to break out into some Spanish to make sure they understand what's going on in this case?
I think it's all based on our player development and film and our position coaches and watching film as a team. We run a lot of actions, but a lot of those actions we've already practiced those in workouts.
And how do you feel this team is ready to roll this year? I mean, do you think? I
think we're in a good place, Derek. Time will tell. We'll start on Monday. We'll find out.
And do we know what the lineup is? Do you want to break that out, or do we
I do know what the lineup is, but we still got a couple, maybe one more spot to work out before Monday night.
Last question: are you going to have to sell any more tickets and get on the phone? I love those videos. And just seriously, speak about your season ticket base.
I think it's easy because we got a good product. We got great kids. It's easy to come to games because we've won. But it was great to. Our ticket office works really, really hard. It was great to get on the phone and make an extra push, but also thank some current season ticket holders for their support.
Well, Jose, I think your product sells itself, but it was cool to see you do it. We'll see you at the Yuengling Center on Monday.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on BullsEYE, which continues next. Well, that was pretty jam-packed as we get set now for looking ahead to Memphis and the actual city along with the football game. But I got to ask you, BJ Daniels, since, we're not football players, Kaylee and I. We don't really know how beneficial a bye week is for the body. How banged up do you get and how beneficial is it?
The bye weeks are so beneficial. If you think about injuries that may happen, it happens all season. I don't think any football player is 100% healthy. There's fingers, toes, toenails, eyelashes, things happen.
Eyelashes especially.
Yeah, it happens. So to have at least a week off, it feels like a vacation. So have that opportunity to get healthy. Your ankles, kind of get back right. Your feet get up under you. You kind of get the wind beneath your wings, so to speak. So it's extremely important, especially to get a win and go into a bye week. It feels so much better.
About time you quoted a Bette Midler song during the course of Bulls. I was waiting for you to do that. I was just waiting for that moment. And I know we teased you about your dressing up like you with Coach Golesh, but that really is an awesome suit, man.
It really is.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
So you're going to Memphis.
Yeah.
Getting those, hopefully, Victoria sideline interviews again.
Yeah.
What's your experience been so far in your life in Memphis?
So I've never been to Memphis.
All right.
So I'm excited to go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Don't know I've heard mixed reviews, but I'm excited.
If you like barbecue, do you?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not
do you have
picky.
any
I love
suggestions
everything.
for him?
Barbecue?
Yeah.
I don't have any barbecue places.
But you have.
Nope. But I do actually have. You should go to Motown.
Okay.
Music is very big in Memphis. So they have a street full of just old records and different things and companies and bars that.
Oh, I love it.
And restaurants that people started. People started their careers. A lot of jazz. Good place to enjoy yourself.
That's awesome. What a vibe. Bring in the vibe.
If you can get over to Beale Street, that's a nice place to go.
Yeah,
it's right
fans
there.
of that?
Beale Street.
Okay.
I honestly, you don't feel bad that you didn't know this. I didn't know this until I was with women's basketball last season. Right there on the west side of Memphis, which is the west side of Tennessee. It is right next to Arkansas. So if you ever see, you know, the
That's right.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
I'm not a geography guy. just worry about the Liberty Bowl, which is where the action's going to be taking place.
Wow. Okay. Noted.
All right.
I'm excited.
And we want a full barbecue report next week as well.
Deal.
Wherever
Deal.
you get it.
I got you
fine
guys.
by us. We'll be back next week to recap that and bring you more fun interviews. Good luck, Bulls, and keep those horns up. Thanks for watching BullsEYE.